Good morning and welcome to the morning edition of the Daily Fix. I am your usual host and presenter, Advocate Tulo Hoyani. Like I indicated yesterday, we will now have two editions of the Daily Fix. There will be this morning edition, and later on in the day, we'll have the late edition, which will come in the afternoon at about 5 p.m. or thereabouts. So let us get into the business of the day today. The business of the day today is to look into Brigadier Gininda. Gininda is quite a character, a very controversial character to say the least. You'll recall that in the Meyiwa trial, he has styled himself the lead investigator. But all the other investigators who were investigating this matter with him said there was no lead investigator in that matter. Everybody was equal. There was nobody who was ever designated a lead investigator. This was refuted by Warrant Officer Makubu. Makubu insists that Gininda was never a lead investigator. So that is the first interesting thing about Gininda. Why does Gininda have the guts to tell the court that he was the lead investigator when in fact there was no such thing as a lead investigator in that matter? But be that as it may, Gininda looks like he was in the forefront of this investigation. He probably, imposed himself as a lead investigator. This is why now he comes before court to say, I am the lead investigator in this matter. Gininda is quite a character. In the Radovan Crusher case, Gininda was exposed for having lied under oath. So it is on record in the Crusher case that Gininda has been exposed for lying under oath. So anybody who lies under oath, and remember, lying under oath is in itself a criminal offense. It amounts to defeating the ends of justice. Because any statement made under oath is supposed to adhere to that oath. So Gininda has been caught lying under oath. This is quite a character. You'll also recall that Gininda was confronted about Ikabani, that police manual that states that sets out how suspects are supposed to be treated upon their arrest and subsequent thereafter. Gininda was adamant under cross-examination by Advocate Munisi that he had never heard of this Ikabani. Shockingly, how does a person rise to the rank of brigadier and not be aware of something so standard, that any Jack and Jill policeman ought to know about? So Gininda steadfastly said, I'm not aware of Ikabani. Now, let us take him at his word. If he says he's not aware of Ikabani, it means he's not aware, in spite of the fact that he's a brigadier, that there are certain procedures which have to be adhered to when a suspect is taken in for questioning. And in all likelihood, none of this was done with regard to the suspects in the Meyiwa trial. So if Gininda is not aware of, like he wants us to believe, if he's not aware of the existence of Ikabani, it means, the arrest of the 5 accused people that we are seeing in the Pretoria High Court can simply be set aside for being unlawful. Because Gininda's lack of awareness or lack of knowledge of that standard police manual would mean that he never, adhered to any of the requirements set out in Ikabani, dealing with the arrest of suspects and how they are supposed to be, informed about their rights to legal representation that they are not supposed to or obliged to make any statement. And if any statement is made, that statement might be used in evidence against them. So Gininda probably did none of those things. You also remember that Gininda relies to a large extent on the confessions which he says the accused persons made. And the accused persons have, in any case, strongly denied that they ever made any confessions. To add to the mix, there's also that controversial and dubious character called Advocate Mujiako. Remember, Mujiako at some stage was supposed to be, posing or acting like Ntanzi's lawyer, and Ntanzi says, at no stage did I ever engage Mujiako to act on my behalf. And Mujiako is supposed to have played a very pivotal role at the time that Ntanzi was supposed to have made that confession statement. So this investigation itself is riddled with a lot of controversies, and these controversies largely center around the way in which Gininda was conducting the investigation. I also have it on record that it was Gininda and his colleagues, some of his colleagues, who put out the narrative shortly after Senzo Meyiwa was killed. Gininda was one of the people who peddled the narrative that there had been intruders into that house, even before a thorough investigation was conducted of what really happened in that house. In other words, he really made sure that the investigation proceeds away from the house. That is why the house was never treated as a crime scene. He came up with this theory that there had been intruders into the house and that people had run out of the house in the direction of the park, not very far away. So the narrative of 636 is Gininda's narrative. He has a lot to answer for that narrative, because if you juxtapose that narrative with the other narrative that there were no intruders into that house, 375 seems to be the more credible narrative of what really happened in the Meyiwa house on that fateful day. So a lot remains to be seen as this matter progresses. What sort of things Gininda has up his sleeve. Because among other things, Gininda also said, they failed to arrest Kelly Khumalo because this was a prosecution-led investigation. In other words, like I've always said, Gininda wanted to shift the blame away from himself to the prosecution, to say it was the prosecution that took the decision not to arrest Kelly Khumalo. But that is shocking, because under normal circumstances, if the police have gathered evidence, and that evidence discloses the commission of a crime as serious as the crime of murder, why should they even seek, the advice of the prosecution as to who to arrest and charge? In other words, if Gininda had all the evidence pointing towards Kelly Khumalo as the person who shot Senzo Meyiwa, whether it was by mistake or deliberately, that is a story for another day. Whether it was by mistake or deliberately, Gininda should have arrested Kelly Khumalo. Now he shifts the blame to say, oh, well, it was a prosecution-led investigation and there was nothing that I could do. I'm just saying to you this morning that watch this space. A lot of the inconsistencies that we are seeing in this trial are largely attributable to Brigadier Gininda. A lot will be heard in this about this man as the trial unfolds. Having said that, let me thank you very much for watching this video. I'm very pleased by the way the subscriptions are beginning to come in and the views. Please keep up the good work. Another thing that I want to remind you about this morning is, please don't skip those ads. Those ads keep the home fires burning. So please don't skip ads as they come up. You would have realized that ads are now coming up throughout, or 2 or 3 ads will always come up with any video that I post online. So don't skip those ads. So having said that, please have a nice day, and let us look forward to the late edition, which I indicated will be coming just between 5 and 6 p.m. today. Thank you very much for watching.